So what I want to show you right now are some just cool ideas. Basically, all I played in that little demo there was a G major chord, and most people learn it this way. This particular time I was playing it with my ring finger on the 3rd fret and the middle finger there, and then I reached my pinky over to there. That's a really good alternate way to play a G chord because it's really easy. My hand's already in the shape to go to a C chord, which I can scoot these over like that and then get my index finger down right there, and now I have a G and C, and those chords are together a lot. So all I was playing in that whole demo was a G major chord, a C major chord, and then I turned it around with a D major chord. These are all beginner chords that you want to learn. So what I want to do is show you a couple of concepts to get you embellishing within those chords. Because what I was playing there, I mean, you know, some of you out there can do that stuff and it's real easy for you, but there's other people that are just getting started that, you know, that think that seems like an impossible thing to do. So I want to give you some basic steps to start doing that. So basically what you want to do is you want to be able to practice what's called the G major pentatonic scale in this open position, which is also the exact same thing as the E minor pentatonic scale. They're the same, they share all the same notes. One is meant to be played over a G major style progression, and the other is meant to be played over an E minor style progression. We're going to focus on the G major style version of it today. So here's the scale itself. Ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. That's your root, your starting note. Then we play the open A string. Really pay attention to the proper fingers. So we're going to go ring finger, open, middle finger on the 2nd fret. Then we're going to do the same thing on the next 2 strings. Open, 2, and then open 2 on the G. So far we have. Then we have open B string, 3rd fret ring finger, and then same thing on the high E. So I was basically using elements of that scale. So if you're a super beginner, the first thing I recommend you do is practice just the A string, D string, and G string, because it's 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, just on those middle 3 strings. Okay, you want to practice that a lot, very slowly. Okay, get that going, and then what you want to do is practice a couple of these techniques. The first technique would be hammer-ons. So in other words, I play the open A string, and then I hammer on my middle finger on the 2nd fret. And then I do the same thing on the next string. Then the next string. And the trick with a good hammer-on is that once you hammer down on it, you don't release your pressure. See that? I kind of relax my finger after I hit it. You come straight down and you keep the pressure. So you can practice things like this. Slowly, 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 slowly. And if you look, my right hand's just picking 1 per string. And you know, if you want, you can practice that same thing on the 3rd fret of the B and the high E. Okay, so that's one trick. Another trick is to do the hammer on, then hit the next string open. So for instance, hammer on the 2nd fret of the A, then I play the open D string right after. Then the same thing on the next 2. Then the next. So then another step, and you can follow all these and practice them really slow, is called a pull off. So my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the high E, pluck it, then pull it off. Same thing on the B, and then the G, the D, then the A, and then you can just end it with a G chord. Alright, so that's another trick. And then another one, and these are all great practice tips. I'm telling you, it'll just build some of your skills. The other one is a hammer-on pull-off. So with one pick, I hammer on and pull off in one motion with my middle finger. Okay, so that's what you start with, but then the next step is to try and, for instance, play a G chord this way, and as you strum, you try some of those techniques, but you strum the whole chord. So I'm using my middle finger with this G shape. Play a C chord, middle finger again, and with the C chord, it's going to be, you know, the D and G string mostly. But with the C chord, you could take off and add that index finger as well. And pinky on the 3rd fret of the B and the high E is always going to work. And the cool stuff is that you can strum the whole chord when you add those. And then when you have the D chord, index finger, you can travel up and down that scale as you strum the whole chord. And then another thing you can do is play the notes individually followed by a chord, or start with a chord. I'm just talking about G, C, and D. Watch.